Welcome to the Microsoft Executive Spotlight Series. My name is Rishan Bharat, and I'm a Director for Business Applications at Microsoft Canada. My colleague, Ten Kev, and I will be hosting a series of executives over these sessions where we will be talking about their businesses. We'll be talking about how they're adopting technology, but also how they've been partnering with Microsoft to enable their success and empower Canadians every day. Today's session is with Arbor Memorial. Arbor Memorial is a company that provides funeral services and end-of-life services to Canadians across the country. I'm joined today by Laurel and Ancheta, who's the CFO of the company, and Kirk Serjeanston, who's the CIO of the company, to talk to us a little bit about their business and their partnership with Microsoft. So Kirk, Laurel, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you very much. We appreciate the opportunity.
Maybe you can share with us a little bit about Arbor Memorial and what your business model is.
Definitely. Arbor is a family-owned Canadian company, and we have operations across the country. We've a history of being a leader, as well as a standard setter in our industry, and we've been a Canada's Best Managed Companies winner for the last 3 years. We were established way back in 1947, and we now have over 130 funeral homes and cemeteries, many of which have cremation facilities, which are, of course, quite important due to the increasing trend toward cremation. We also have over 2,500 employees, most of which who work in our field operations. Our business model focuses on providing a complete array of options to our customers, effectively employing innovation and technology, and also maintaining multiple locations in the markets we serve. We also place a strong emphasis on pre-arrangements, and by that I mean making arrangements before the time that you need them.
Excellent. So I want to jump in and you know, I'd like to say we can't wait till we don't have to ask this question, right? And hopefully it's coming sooner rather than later. But the pandemic has had an impact on businesses. And I was wondering if you could share with us, what kind of an impact has it had on your organization? And have you had to, readjust, swizzle the business model a bit, come up with something perhaps innovative to deal with the pandemic?
Like many other industries, the norms for our services changed quite significantly during the pandemic as well, and it forced us to quickly adapt to changing demands, including serving many more families than we did in the prior year. Keeping our employees, our customers, and our community safe has been our top priority, however. We, of course, closely follow all government and association updates across the country, and we quickly implement all the new requirements. At the same time, it's been a high priority for us to ensure our families are still able to say goodbye to their loved ones in a way that's meaningful to them, despite the guidelines that often limit attendance at funeral and cemetery services. And this includes allowing those that can't attend the ceremonies to still feel connected through live streaming technology. We've also closely been monitoring our financial trends, of course. We allowed employees who could to work from home. We certainly reprioritized new initiatives, and we've also enhanced internal communication strategies to make sure that all of our employees are kept well informed.
Thank you for that, Laurel. Kirk, maybe if I could just turn to you on this topic, even within your virtual four walls, I would imagine that you have a number of people who are kind of out there in the field. But what kind of an impact did it have from a technology perspective within the organization?
Yeah, there was a lot of pressure on IT, I think, at the start of the pandemic, just making sure that some of the infrastructure that we deployed could support the new technology. So video streaming was, without a hitch and available and accessible by our customers, right down to making sure some of our employees who couldn't now come into the office could still function remotely. Microsoft Teams was a big platform for us to make sure the team stayed connected in all our projects and stayed aligned on the direction we were taking with the organization. So that's been a big change for us for sure. And like I said, there's been a lot of pressure, but the team's managed very well. Getting down to we have a little culture club where we, once or twice a month get on a call and just play some games and make sure we have the same sort of community that we had when we were all going to head office.
Excellent. Thank you.
Certainly challenging, but I think we've managed quite well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's impacted us all, right? These two guys talking to you today included absolutely had to adjust.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this is some really good context there. I love the whole, the customers and the communities, keeping them safe, and then also creating a little bit of a culture club, right? Because that really goes into the overall element of the customer focus and also the people focus, and ensuring that you're enabling and promoting and contributing to be relevant with your customers, but also ensuring business sustainability at the same time as well, right? And one of the things you mentioned there, Laurel, was looking at your financials as well and ensuring that some of those things are focused and prioritized. From a competition perspective, maybe you can share with us a little bit, in addition to some of the stuff you've already described there, how do you set yourself apart from your competitors out in the market?
Well, at Arbor, everything we do, we have a fundamental belief that every life is unique and that every memorial we're going to provide to our customers should be too. And this shapes the way we work with our families to find meaningful and customized ways to remember and celebrate the lives that are important to them. We set ourselves apart from our peers by investing heavily in technology and innovation, also investing in human resources, and by providing an exceptional customer experience. And also by having multiple locations in the various markets we serve, we're able to leverage synergies. One of our 3 strategic goals is to become a completely customer-centric organization. And our top priority in achieving this goal is to develop a very holistic digital experience for the customers throughout their entire journey with us. And that will definitely keep Kirk's team very busy. In addition, we're looking for opportunities to enhance our customers' experience. We're developing some new solutions for certain key market segments. We're addressing the changing preferences, from traditional to more cremation or, different needs that they have. And we're also centralizing customer care using Microsoft technology.
I'd like to ask a follow-up question, because I am interested, and I love this concept of customer centricity and that you're embracing it or continuing to embrace it as an organization and applying technology to it. But within your organization or your business, when do you want to start creating that relationship with the customer? Is there a trend towards trying to build a relationship earlier on, let's say, with the individual, as opposed to waiting until there's the absolute need for it? Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I previously mentioned that we, as an organization, we've done this right from our grassroots. We place a very strong emphasis on the pre-arrangements. And so that means we're contacting them well ahead, sometimes decades ahead of when they actually need our services. And we're, finding out what they need, and we're allowing them to put money aside to pay for the services that they require. And it's not just before and during, but it's also after. How do we care for them after the time of bereavement?
I'd be really interested to hear from you. What are your growth drivers, and what other kind of principles are you applying to the growth for your organization today?
So another of our strategic goals is to work really effectively together internally to ensure that our customers are getting the best possible care. And the primary objective that we designed to achieve this goal is to be the innovation leader in our industry. We expect to achieve this objective by utilizing a lot of new technologies that Kirk has brought to the table, including our new Microsoft ERP, and ensuring our systems are effectively aligned and also designed to support a collaborative working environment. Another objective that we designed to achieve this goal is to provide our customers with a single team of experts who can take care of all their needs, rather than perhaps meeting with more than one person. In this regard, we're going to continue to enhance our internal communication strategy, and we'll erase any unnecessary boundaries within our organization. And our third strategic goal is to sustain our leadership position, which we plan to achieve by implementing best-in-class talent engagement and retention strategies, by expanding and adding operations in both new and existing markets, and also by enhancing our pre-arrangement program, which we collectively consider our key growth drivers.
Excellent.
Some real embracing of technology there in terms of your growth drivers, right? And just in terms of being innovative and being collaborative as well, but also serving as a single source of experts for your customers as well, and creating that overall journey as well, and also sustaining your leadership in the market. Maybe Kirk, this one might be for you, but maybe you could describe a little bit about how technology and also innovation at the same time is contributing to some of those drivers that Laurel just talked about a few moments ago?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the number one thing we're focused on when it comes to innovation is serving our families better, right? More efficiently, giving the information they need to feel very comfortable, with their staff. So we really look at that customer-facing technology first. I think there's a level of empathy we're trying to generate even through technology. I think, in the past with user-centric design is about getting to a result quickly, whereas I think taking a more empathetic approach means giving imagery, taking customers through a flow because they're going through a very tough time. And so we're using technology to help people move through these issues in a more empathetic way. And I think, that is one of the focuses of our innovation and our technology is just putting our customers first and making sure they feel better when they talk to our employees. And then there's this efficiency part as well. We really do want our employees to be focused and working, and they can't do it if they're doing a lot of manual work. So, leveraging technology to help them achieve things faster and more efficiently on behalf of our customers. And that's seen through things like digitizing our operation, taking manual paperwork, putting it into our system, having it available by SharePoint. So, all that information is available at their fingertips. And then, of course, that gets translated into a business intelligence program where we can mine that data and then, help understand our customers better. So I think, one of the really neat things about Arbor is that we're taking technology and we're looking at how it can improve our business and our customers' lives in many, many different ways.
That's really good context there. Like, I love how you described the overall just embracing of understanding the customer, understanding the journey that really puts you as a business in that intelligent edge or in that intelligent position to make calculated decisions around how you service the customer, but also create that autonomy of technology within your organization so your employees have access to make better, smarter, and more impactful decisions at the same time. So yeah, I appreciate you sharing that context.
Yeah, I'm just going to piggyback on that, Kirk, and Laurel, maybe you'd like to answer after Kirk does, but Microsoft as a whole, how do you see the partnership with Microsoft, not only for your company today, but as you go into the future and the role that this partnership is going to play for your organization?
We've been a partner with Microsoft for a while. So we started with the CRM and some other products that we've used for years. We made this decision fairly recently to go from a custom ERP into an off-the-shelf ERP. So clearly, Microsoft was one of the companies that we sought out very quickly as a potential partner, just because of our relationship. You guys have done a fantastic job for us. So we want to see that relationship grow. How I view the Microsoft ERP as a foundation by which we can innovate, right? So there's no sense creating custom technology that does our finances or some of our operational needs. We can get the ERP from Microsoft to do that for us. What we then see is that we can layer on more innovative technologies that are directly suited to our industry on top. So, get Microsoft to do some of the heavy lifting, let it be the engine for our organization. Well, we leverage that to think of more creative solutions on behalf of our customers. And so we see that relationship ever evolving, right? So we've got a couple phases for ERP. We're not stopping this year. We've got a couple ideas that we want to bring out in the years to come, as well as leveraging other technologies like artificial intelligence or the Internet of Things. These are applications we're looking to you guys to work with us with as we evolve through time and as we innovate for our customers.
Yeah, so really kind of embracing that idea of the platform and everything that comes along with the business applications. From the CFO perspective, Laurel, anything you want to add?
Well, I think since one of our 3 strategic goals is to be a leader in our industry, it's important to work with a leader in technology because, technology pervades our strategic plan. And so we might as well be dealing with the best and getting the standards that make sense across industries and doing the best we can possibly do.
And we appreciate you being a Microsoft customer, and thank you so much for your support and your partnership, along with one of our partners from an ERP perspective on Actuate as well. Diving into that, maybe you can talk to us a little bit about what drove you towards the decision towards Dynamics 365. Kirk, I know you mentioned you were running on a custom platform prior, but maybe talk to us through like the decision criteria that you went through to make the selection on Dynamics 365.
Absolutely, and it's funny, or maybe it's probably a good strategy, but it's really coming to life now, right? So effectively, the first sort of gate was we want an all-encompassing ERP system, something that could tackle a lot of our challenges. So that was a big piece for sure. Can it do what we needed to do? The answer was yes. But I think where Microsoft really gave us a big advantage was integration. So the integration with their CRM now is amazing. And that's one thing that we talk with sales all the time, is that how can we make what our reps do in the field a lot easier through integration? And that's just been one of the outstanding pieces that's come from Microsoft. The other part is some of the other services. So we got into a call center, and we started researching call center technologies. And of course, Microsoft had some. And so we were able to leverage that as well. And then using the integration, suddenly you get this composite platform, right? So if I were to kind of summarize it, is like, yeah, the ERP had everything we needed to do, but there was a whole bunch of other technology that we could invest in that could help grow our business and evolve our business in a very positive way. And that's what we're literally experiencing that now.
Excellent. One of my learnings, having done this for 20 plus years, is that one of the biggest impediments to new technology is not necessarily the software, where to find the print button. It's just that it's new, right? We all struggle with change. And so I would like for you to talk a little bit, if you could, about how are you handling the change and your strategy for introducing new technology within the organization to make sure that you're going to get the efficiency and the outcomes that you want from these solutions?
I would say change management was the very first thing the project team brought up when it came from going from a custom system to an off-the-shelf system. So I would say we were hyper aware of the change management challenges that we were about to face. So right away, we hired a change professional. We got an organization in to help us through our change management issues as well. We've been leaning on Microsoft as well. So on our monthly calls, talk about change and some of the products that are available to help us and our organization. Beyond that, I think as an executive and someone who's been working with the executive team very closely on this, communication, right? Getting into the different business units and talking about the project, being as transparent as possible, making sure everyone knows Microsoft. I was on a call last week saying the best part of my day will be when someone from the field researches Microsoft and finds out what the system can do and then gets back to me and says, we should totally implement this. I mean, that will be, the day when I know change management's really taken a very positive route. But also what's in it for me. So getting into the technology, understanding how it works, and then being able to translate that back to the frontline workers to make sure they know that they're getting, a very valuable product with very valuable processes for both them and the customer. So it has been a lot of work. It's been a lot of focus, but I think the team's managing well through it, and it certainly is a big part of the project is managing this change challenge.
So it's almost just as important to create that change management plan as it is the implementation plan.
It might be more important.
Perfect.
Well, talking about a piece of both, right? Something you talked about earlier on there, Kirk, in terms of the decision to go with Dynamics 365 was that integration between CRM and ERP specifically, right? And so that always makes things more simplified from an IT architecture technical perspective. But on the opposite end of that, there's the user reaction and adoption as well. Can you share with us a little bit around, what did you have to go through, or what are you actually still going through to ensure successful user adoption from an ERP perspective?
Right. So, still going through is probably the optimal term, I think, for this discussion. But, there's a couple real push and pulls on this. So, with D365, we're getting a lot more functionality out of the box than we ever got with our custom systems. So the way I used to describe it when we were entering into the project is with a custom system, you were getting everything you needed, but you never got what you wanted, right? So there was a very specific business functionality that had to be accomplished within the custom system. And yet there was all this other stuff that we just didn't put time on because it wasn't necessary. With D365, not only do we satisfy those needs, but we give you just a bunch of wants out of the box. So inventory management is a perfect example where we didn't have great inventory management in our custom system because it wasn't a need. But now, as we start up in our project, it's just coming with the system. And so here are all these challenges that we're solving on the side that really weren't, front of mind for a lot of our employees. But now that they're seeing them in action, like, oh, thank gosh, we've got an inventory system. So that balance of the newness of the system and some of the change challenge gets offset by some of the functionality that they didn't expect to get and new efficiencies that come to the business. So it's been a really interesting complement between the two, where you get a little bit of pushback, but you're like, but look at all this great stuff that goes with it, and people start to come on board a little quicker.
I have one more question for you, if I could. I want to start by just adding my thanks to both of you for your partnership with Microsoft. We're looking forward to a nice long journey with you. There are a lot of people who are going to watch this recording, and they're in the process of looking and evaluating. And I know a lot of them are going to have questions about, what's the best way or lessons learned when it comes to implementing Dynamics 365. Kirk and Laurel, I know you're going through it, but is there anything that you can share? We talked a lot about change management. I think it's a huge piece of it that sometimes gets overlooked. So we've emphasized that. But anything else that you may want to pass along to someone who's watching this recording?
Yeah, absolutely. The very first thing I'd say is have a 5-year plan. So make sure that you have a strategy and that this fits into the strategy. So don't just know where you are, but know where you're going, because that unleashes a ton of power from the Microsoft platform. The second thing I would say is get the right integrator. Make sure that you're looking around and you're finding someone who complements your business teams, who get the project and who complement Microsoft, because we're all in this together and everybody wants to be successful. So having that integrator is a very important piece of it. Change management professionals. If you're going to walk away with anything, you're probably good at change management, but I just recommend getting a professional to come in and help work through it. I'd say the final thing is stay connected with Microsoft, right? I know we do. I'll ask questions. I'll ask for some support, some information, and I get it. So that just relieves the stress when you know that the integrator is working on your behalf. You got the change management team working on your behalf, but I can also go to Microsoft and get some support. And this is a stressful project. I'm all smiles right now, but as soon as I hang up, the hair is going to fall out and I'm going to start shaking again. But having the support like that at your fingertips really makes the process a lot easier.
Fantastic.
That's incredible. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks to you both. I'd be remiss if I didn't say you have an exciting business model. But in addition to that, the overall customer journey, the customer insight, and the delivery of success towards your customers is so important to us as Microsoft. When we think of our portfolio and our value prop and in terms of how we go to market, and one of our key philosophies around empowering every individual and every company with technology to achieve more, it's a core principle and belief of ours. So we appreciate your partnership. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I'm certain that other customers and organizations watching this will certainly take some value from it as they embark on their journeys for transformation and business growth and customer satisfaction as well. So thank you very much. Great place to end it. Appreciate you guys taking the time to do this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.